Hi, INTA fellow members and friends. I hope you and your families are doing well, are staying safe, helping each other, maintaining a positive spirit. I think that's the most important and definitely our first concern during this coronavirus outbreak. Today, I'm working from home, and I know that in these challenging times, many of you had to adapt their professional and personal lives. So today, I wanted to bring to your attention three main IP related issues happening in Europe that may impact your IP professional life. Number one, the EU IPO and national IP offices have been impacted in their services by the coronavirus. Some have prohibited their premises to visitors, some have reduced their working hours, others have actually also extended some time limits for some procedural deadlines. And I really invite you to have a look at the websites of those IP offices themselves. That's really where you're going to find the latest and the most reliable information about the services of IP offices. Of course, INTA is going to provide you with some news on our social media, but really please do visit the websites of the IP offices. Second, Brexit. Brexit remains a concern in Europe and beyond. Brexit is now official. The EU and the UK have entered in the transition period during which they are negotiating their future relationship in 2021 and beyond. However, now in-person meetings have been cancelled due to the coronaviruses, and negotiations have slowed down. Actually, the latest round of negotiations has been cancelled. Some draft positions, including on IP rights, have been shared, but the issue is that London is still insisting for the transition period to end in December, thereby leaving little time for the EU and the UK to negotiate a trade relationship, and thereby increasing the chance of having a no-deal Brexit. The INTA Brexit Task Force has actually issued a very practical and useful fact sheet where basically you'll see some recommendations about what needs to be done or what needs to be considered during the transition period and afterwards to minimize the impact of Brexit on your IP rights. So I really invite you to have a look at the fact sheet. You'll find the link after that video. We also are discussing with the UK IP offices and with UK enforcement authorities about the possibility of organizing an exchange with brand owners on enforcement related issues. The idea is really to help the UK negotiators better understand what's at stake for businesses and how to protect the interest of such businesses. So let us know if you're interested to join. Last but not least, the third main related IP issues that I wanted to bring to your attention. The EU institutions are now closed to the public, including lobbyists like myself. But they are still very active on the legislative front with a series of initiatives that are impacting or may impact IP rights. And today I wanted to bring to your attention perhaps the most relevant one, which is the so-called Digital Services Act, which is a review of the EU directive on e-commerce and expected by the end of the year. And this should actually reconsider the liability of online platforms, including possibly the liability of online platforms as regards to counterfeiting online. So this really may shake up the EU IPR enforcement landscape quite a lot. And we have a public consultation that is going to be launched by the end of March, where all stakeholders, including yourself if you want, will have the possibility to provide their views. I'll detail the other EU initiatives that have an impact or may have an impact on IP in my next videos, but I really invite you to let me know if you have any questions, and in the meantime, please stay safe and take care. Thanks.